On 1st of September at noon, he stopped by to play us a tune. Fleeting young troubadour, two girls danced in encore. Shoppers passed by, quite immune. Just up the hill from the scene of this street performance is the elegantly Georgian edifice of Lewes House, currently the headquarters of Lewes District Council, and split up into offices too. From 1890 to 1928, it was the home of Boston-born art collector Edward Perry Warren. Warren founded here a brotherhood of like-minded aesthetes, archaeologists, artists, and scholars dedicated to establishing a major antiquarian collecting business, driven by his own deep love of Greek culture. Among his many extraordinary acquisitions was Rodin's Kiss, which arrived at Lewes House in 1904, a year after Rodin himself had visited. The Sussex Express and Herald said the Kiss was placed in the coach house, the only part of Mr. Warren's residence in which there was room for such a massive piece of sculpture. In the stable all night, quite alone, a warm kiss locked in marble, coldest of stone. We can see it of late, as you know, at the Tate, where they say it emits pheromone. A decade later, Warren lent the kiss to Lewes Town Council for display in the assembly room of the town hall. But when soldiers were billeted there and the assembly room became their recreation space, the sculpture was draped in a tarpaulin and surrounded by a railing, lest it have a disastrous effect on the soldiers' morals. Here's a group of wounded soldiers being photographed outside Lewes House. A less squeamish attitude was evident last weekend, when, as part of the annual Art Wave festival, Lewes House hosted a pop-up surrealist cafe. The Surreal Cafe made a meal of art. You would say 'twould appeal. But the art was all fake, in icing on cake. Carbohydrates breach copyright. Hardly ideal. Are these buttocks, do you agree, more like surreal artistry? There's no question of smut, no ifs, though a but. Yes, certainly, our cup of tea. The garden at the back of Lewes House was thrown open to show us this amazing recreative space, surprising after the narrow, steep, busy High Street. The mayor was seen leaving the fair, which proved that the mayor had been there. Life is much gayer when, as a ratepayer, one knows that the council does care. Lewes House was also temporary host to the archive of Lee Miller, fashion model, photographer, war correspondent, and wife of fellow surrealist Roland Penrose. Here's their son signing books. He was the boy who bit Picasso many years ago. Just recently, I had been at Fairley Farmhouse in Chillingly, where Miller and Penrose entertained the likes of Picasso, Miro, and Man Ray. The beautiful garden with its views of the Downs is dotted with the surreal in all shapes and sizes. This fluttering mulberry tree is beauteous, don't you agree? But this dismembered giant, no longer defiant, is grimly extraordinary. The classics don't do any harm. even at Old Fairley Farm. She isn't surreal, but that's her appeal, and the lichen just adds to her charm. Of course, they would have to install a pond and a nice waterfall. This fountain of water does do what it oughter, but isn't sufficiently hydro-screwball.
You're as pretty as a picture. Has anyone ever told you before? You're the image of an angel from above, and you were just meant for me to adore. You're the model of perfection. The others are only copies of you. Can't you see the only thing that worries me? I wonder if you're too good to be true.